Hello and welcome to the Daily Atheist Morning Show. It is Monday, the 30th of November, 2020. I'm your host, the Amazing Super Chris. Thank you for joining me on this ungodly hour. I've got my co-hosts, Andy Hall and Nokasuchi from Andy Hall from the Laughing in Disbelief blog over at Pathos and Nokasuchi from the Rage channel here on YouTube. They're both joining me. We're going to talk about this little Christian thing and other stuff, that's going on within their problems with their thing in the science. And we're going to talk about that right after this. So this is cool. Check this out. I got a new one for you. Check this out. Beep this, my homies. Hello all, Chris Mallard here, atheist extraordinaire, host of the Daily Atheist Morning Show, and currently burning in hell. Oh, don't worry about me. I'm not dead. I'm just down here for the annual Christmas party. I mean, annual Solstice Awards party. The Dark One, or Lucy as he is affectionately known, is personally handing out the awards. Aaron Ra is getting the award for the most souls brought down by evolution for his African fossil hunt, and Matt Dillahunty has won the Golden Phallus Award for being a dick to the most Christians. Oh wait. It's the Golden Fallacy Award for the confusing the most Christians. Easy mistake to make. To top it off, Seth Andrews has lent his voice to the Gregorian chants this year. It's delightfully hellish. Gotta run. I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving, if you're into that sort of thing, and I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. A happy holidays, happy solstice, and a happy new year. Stay safe, heathens. Party hard, fornicate, that sort of thing. But do it safely. All right. Good morning, everybody. I hope you like that commercial. I enjoyed making it. I will be making more of those. They were fun. Good morning, Andy and Nokasuchi. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Andy, you survived the weekend. It looks cloudy there.
It is. I have my Sam Adams beer caps here, my bottle caps from my Atheist Drinking Out Loud number 5 on Saturday. Had a very good time with Robert Stanley from Right to Reason. He was our guest fourth person. Of course, we had Neil the 604 Atheist and Seamus from the Free Thought Prophet. It was pretty crazy. 2 hours of really kind of pushing the envelope on a few topics. I was surprised at it because usually we're just BSing around, but we talked about some serious matters. Yeah.
That's good. Sounds like fun. I'm sorry I missed it. I was doing stuff. You know how it is. We do stuff.
No, I know. I thought you were like a guest on a show on Saturday night.
I think I was doing something. I was doing something. Anyway, good morning, Nokasuchi. Man, did you have a good weekend, brother?
Oh yeah. I had a really good weekend. My big stream on Saturday was fairly successful, and then I spent yesterday cleaning. So now I'm in the OCD glow of being in a spotless, quarantine safe zone now. So all the germs are gone, and I'm feeling good.
That's awesome. Finally, right? After months of
after a few days, but OCD makes a few days feel like months.
Well, I mean, you had the cooties, and you got sick with the flu or whatever you had. It's like one thing from another. You were just like this fountain of disease.
Yeah, no.
And now you're better.
Yeah, I got rid of the cooties just to get a stomach flu. Like that's my luck in life,
True that. So before we get too carried away, I want to say hello to everyone. Good morning, everyone in the damn nation, all you wonderful people on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch and Twitter and Discord now. We're streaming to Discord if you're into Discord. I don't know Discord, but I'm figuring it out. And to our Daily Atheist Morning Show podcast live, thank you all for joining us. I hope you had a wonderful and safe weekend. Hope you had a safe Turkey Day. We ran a couple of, we took the days off, Turkey Day and Friday, and I enjoyed some family time myself. I hope you guys got to do that too. I hope everybody out there had a fun and safe Thanksgiving. So we were talking about stuff. In case you didn't notice, and we'll let the topic wander as we go. I'm just going to throw this out there. Apparently, evangelical doctors are having problems. There's like this infighting going on between evangelical doctors and churches. Strange that. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I sent an article to Andy and the guys, and we looked it up. Andy, being the Andy that he is, will probably, possibly, maybe even read to us. Hooked on Phonics worked for him. We're getting every dime out of that Hooked on Phonics.
I just want to say that the public high school that I went to and the public school system that I went to is always ranked one of the lowest 3 in quality in the state of Massachusetts.
We can tell.
It is. People, when I tell them I'm from Brockton, they look at me like, "What? Really?" Because I put on such a good show. Yeah, but my basic education, it was just horrible. So what's the show? What is this this article that we're talking about, the name of it's from NPR, legit news site.
Yeah.
And it's Evangelical Doctors Group pleads with churches to stay home. And I'll just read some high points, maybe some low points of the story. As coronavirus cases spike, a national group that represents thousands of evangelical Christian doctors and other healthcare providers is asking churches to stop holding services in person. In a statement provided to NPR titled, quote, "A plea to our churches," unquote, leaders of the Christian Medical and Dental Association, see, I had no idea that was a thing,
Yeah.
say that Christians who persist in holding large gatherings at this time could appear to care only about our individual freedoms and don't care that we may be contributing to others getting the illness because of our selfishness. What?
Right.
Evangelicals being selfish? Churches in several states have violated local rules or filed lawsuits. More on that later, kids. Claiming that coronavirus restrictions that limit in-person gatherings violate their religious rights. The Christian Medical and Dental Associations, hey, no jokes about leeches. Statement asks congregations to consider meeting online until the current surge is over. The organization had previously urged churches to obey authorities who implemented coronavirus restrictions. Blah, 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 blah. Smart talk. Blah, yeah. And of course, there's, person. So that was the smart evangelicals talking. And then, of course, you have the necessary idiot who says things at the end of the article like, that's between them and the Lord.
The smart evangelicals, isn't that like idiosyncrasy kind of thing going on there?
I mean, there's no other group I love riffing on than evangelicals.
And that's what I love about or what I hate about the evangelicals right now is that they'll say that no, that's between them and the Lord. They'll have to. Well, no, it's not between just them and the Lord. It's between them and the Lord and everybody they possibly contaminated and all those people who died and went to meet the Lord. So it's like them plus some, and the Lord. That's who it's between, is them and whoever they infected and the Lord.
These are the same people that tell me that if I decide to put my phallus into some dude's butt, then suddenly it's now the business of the government and them to get up in my business. But somehow, if they want to spread COVID-19 throughout the community, they're like, "We cool, don't worry about it."
No problem.
Well, they for some reason think that their freedom of religion consists of having a building open to where they can hustle money, and if they can't hustle that money, then they don't have that freedom of religion. No, your freedom of religion is still there. You can still go online. There's still several things that you can do. Oh. We just don't want you 10 people or more to be in a damn building.
I will say this is that it is an economic question probably for a lot of churches because, comedy clubs, for example, I don't know if you've seen any attempted Zoom comedy shows, not as fun as being there in person. And I think that people are less likely to contribute to their churches if they just go to simple Zoom meetings. I mean, not Zoom meetings, but Zoom events with their churches. That's a guess. But unless you're there and feeling the ecstasy of doing an in-person show, you may not be forking over as much cash.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And right now I bet a lot of people aren't forking over as much as they used to because it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter on everybody. They're probably feeling the burn, and that's one of the reasons why they're persisting and staying open. It's unfortunate that the United States Supreme Court is starting to side with them, but that's why they got the judges they got on there,
So good point, Rage. This article that we just talked about was from November 19th, and that was before the Supreme Court, SCOTUS, decided to side with faith-based crazy thinking. Mm-hmm. Unsurprisingly, in this court, who would have guessed that?
Yeah. Who would have thought that? Putting that religious zealot in that key role that was going to put it in the favor of the religious zealots. Yeah, nobody could have guessed that was ever going to happen.
Right, and I did find an article on this about the Supreme Court. In case there are people in the audience who are watching and listening to our show and don't realize about the latest SCOTUS Supreme Court decision. I have an article, Chris, if you don't mind me reading from
please.
the bit. This is from the Friendly Atheist. Supreme Court, New York cannot enforce strict COVID restrictions on houses of worship. And a preview of how much damage a conservative majority on the Supreme Court can cause. The justices ruled 5-4 late last night that religious institutions do not have to abide by a public health order in New York limiting how many people can gather in one place. While nothing will change immediately, it opens the doors to massive in-person super spreader events at churches and synagogues that could threaten millions. With an M. See, that's American Sign Language for M. Millions of people. So, of course, there were here's some backstory. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo issued an executive order earlier this year that created limits to how many people can gather in one spot, depending on how serious the COVID outbreak was in that region. That was a responsible, science-based decision. You can hear the evangelicals going, boo, boo. In the most dangerous areas, that meant a maximum of 10 people could attend a religious event at one time, even with precautions, while slightly less dangerous areas were allowed for a capacity of 25. And of course, there were exceptions to that rule for like legitimate, businesses that you had to go to, like grocery shopping and other, the thing is, and this is what the article says, is that when you're going to church, it is typically for an elongated portion of time. There is typically singing or speaking, and so going to church is basically different from just going and buying something at the store. Those are those where you can just kind of like rush in and rush out. And because of the Supreme Court ruling, the ability for governors and for anyone, whether you're a city mayor or a town manager, to enforce strict COVID restrictions on houses of worship, that's not going to really happen. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Past the COVID.
Yeah, well, and it could be, evolution doing its thing.
Please tell me more about that, Ray. What do you mean by that?
What do they call it? Culling the herd.
Culling the herd.
Well, and I find it because they're ultimately damaging themselves, and that's their argument. Is church is something more than this? Well, like you can literally do all of that on Zoom now, right? Like you can have a lot of people in a Zoom meeting, and you can have that atmosphere. You can have those songs, and you can do it safely from home until we have an immunity, a herd immunity established for this disease. But the problem is they just deny science. They don't care about science. They got God.
I have a point I'd like to make, in that there's this new technology, this Zoom that they can do their prayers from home, and it doesn't quite bring in as much money as they made whenever they could fill their pews, but it does bring in a little bit. Watch whenever the vaccine goes through or whatever, and they're allowed to fill their pews again, they're not going to stop doing the Zoom.
Oh yeah,
and they're going to keep doing that. I suspect they'll keep. It's not good enough now, and they need to fill those pews, but later on it'll be good enough, and they'll want to.
Yeah, if they weren't doing it before, I definitely think they will continue doing it now. No, some churches were like the NIFB churches. They've been utilizing this for years, and it's like, how are these other churches? Yeah, how have you not leapt on that bandwagon? I mean, it's it's more money for God.
And they could have used that as the opportunity to not be jerks about the whole mask thing, and just, hey, you know what, we're ready. Let's go ahead, and you got to stay home and be safe. And
they could have been on.
There's a donate button right there. Hit that donate button.
Church could have been on the forefront of keeping people safe, and I mean, think of the PR they could have used. So we were first. We knew before the science knew it because we had God.
And imagine having those donations scroll along the screen, having your name show up. Like not only God knows, but everybody knows you just gave $150.
Yeah,
they're missing an opportunity here.
Yeah, they are, man.
Is all I'm saying.
Chris, what I'm hearing is that you're going to be franchising out the Daily Atheist Morning Show to many churches, cathedrals, congregations. Use our system. Use the Mallard system.
I'd certainly make more money doing that than this.
Oh, you would? You're just making money, period.
Yeah, it'd be nice for the, what's it where the outgoing is less than the incoming. The wife talks about it all the time. I have no idea.
Something us YouTubers don't know anything about having
What's
a
it
net
called?
profit.
You use the P word? You didn't use the P word on the
Hey,
show, did you?
I'm like, what is that?
Mute, censor. I'm just curious.
That's a foreign word to me. How did you say that?
Profit? I know, right? Don't say it. Bad Chris. Yeah, no doubt. A year of this, and I'm like, oh yeah, I think I might want to start looking for a job. But so you guys were talking about stuffs before the show started. We interrupted you so we could vaguely talk about the topic before we went on. What was it you guys were going on about? I think it had something to do with God and religion and world coming to peace.
The world coming to an end. I mean, to tell you the truth, what were we talking about?
We were into channel analytics.
Oh, because Andy was like, I'm just going to keep talking about it. And then he stopped talking.
When I was doing the Atheist Drinking Out Loud thing on Saturday, we were talking about the nature of, you got to be creative. And, man, I'm like an angry old man at times. And I'm like, the problem is that you can't be too creative because people are going to hate you for it.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those deals sort of like we talked about with the conservatives and the Republicans and all this stuff. The liberals were, oh, no, don't do this. Don't put this person there because the conservatives are going to accuse you of this. But you know what? We found out the conservatives were going to accuse them of that no matter what.
And a lot of us kind of said that. Like, I don't know. There was quite a few of us telling them before the election, like, if you put Joe Biden there, they're just going to call him a socialist too.
It doesn't matter, right? So you may as well run a real socialist. It just doesn't matter. It's kind of the same thing with Andy's topic there, in a way. Yeah, there's so many people out there. No matter what Andy does, there's going to be somebody who's not going to like it. There's with the audiences as broad as we have.
That's always been my thing about my approach, because people come at me, why do you do this? Why do you go about it the way that you go about it? And I'm like, I could be the cleanest, clean cut, square edged, no cursing person, challenging the ideas of religion, and they're still going to hate me just as much as being the reprobate that I am, because they're all reprobates to them. It's like you're all the enemy. Once you're the enemy, it doesn't matter how you go. You could be the nicest person in the world. You're the enemy.
And part of the tactic of hypocrites is to accuse you of things. Liars and hypocrites, they just accuse you randomly of things, and you're always on the defensive, trying to, like me, I got no time for that. I just bounce.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, I've learned to ignore that. Like there's the time and energy you'll put into combating just the bad shit they say about you is going to overtake the time and energy you can put into putting out real serious content. So,
well, one of the things you got to be careful about whenever you go around telling people to piss off is you might accidentally get canceled. I'm not even sure. I think I may be canceled, but I don't know. It's just like a fraction of a group of people stopped coming around all of a sudden. I'm like, oh shit! Did I get canceled?
I've definitely been canceled by a select group of individuals. Definitely.
Yeah. I would like to think if I were canceled, somebody would tell me.
I don't think I've ever been popular enough or notable enough or to ever be canceled. I've just been ignored. That's my claim to fame.
Right? Yeah. That's kind of swinging high, hitting low.
The ability of human beings to hate people that they don't know at all. That's it. It never ceases to amaze me.
Well, Doug Stanhope said this about comedy is that comedy is one of the few art forms that if people don't like the art that you're producing, they just think you're an asshole.
Yeah. They may not be wrong.
Part of the job, just part of the job.
True enough. Now, Nokasuchi, did you spend time arguing about stuff with Christians over the weekend? I thought you were saying something about what was going on. You were talking to somebody.
I canceled Smokey Saint because I've been obsessively talking to this guy, going into rooms with Christians, showing every interaction that we've had. So I kind of buried that this weekend, and I'm like really focused on getting into different rooms and talking to different Christians and one-on-ones again. And so that's kind of been the focus, is burying that obsession with this guy that is just full of full of laughs and is like a view factory. He started pumping out the views on my channel again, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, let's put him away and let's talk to the other guys that actually are willing to talk. So.
Well, I remember when I first met you, or I first started doing this stream thing, I came on and it wasn't Smokey Saint, it was
Matt Powell. Yeah.
Matt Powell. Oh yeah. And you were like, oh yeah, me and Matt Powell, and we had this thing, and I slayed him, and he's a fool, and we're done. I'm so done with him. I'm just done. And then I was like, cool, and then I did the other things, and I went, oh, this ain't no. I went away for a year, and I came back, like, really, it's more like 8 or 10 months later, and there you were with Matt Powell. Y'all were debating and going through your thing. I mean,
the thing with Matt Powell will probably never end until he stops being a douchebag.
So how are you sure you're done with Smokey Saint then?
Well, it's a different.
Did Smokey Saint stop being a douchebag?
No, it's a different dynamic though. Like Smokey, I won the war with Smokey Saint to where I haven't won it with Matt Powell yet. That's a war that's still going back and forth. With Smokey, it was just easy. The war is over. I've delegated him and isolated him to the point that even the Christian community is going after him. I don't really have to. That hasn't happened really with Matt Powell. In fact, I'm finding more and more people are accepting Matt Powell and calling Matt Powell a Christian brother, which is really, really, I don't know. For me, that's telling of where the Christian community is going, especially here on YouTube.
So Rage, pretend for a minute that the only thing I really do is make funny videos, or attempt to make funny videos and blog posts on my blog, Laughing in Disbelief, cheap plug. And I don't know who this guy is, Matt Powell.
He is probably one of the more famous hate preachers now. So he's famous for making really anti-science creationist movies, but he's also known for making comments about, allowing the United States government to genocide gay people, killing disobedient children, killing adulterous wives, comments like that. So upholding Levitical law, upholding the Bible, essentially, is what he's most famous for.
Matt Powell, is he still in diapers?
He's about 23. Yeah, he's married now. He's got a baby.
Oh, good. Oh, that's great. That's
awesome.
You never know with evangelicals. You got to ask.
Yeah, I don't think any of us really know.
Are we sure he's the father?
Could be Steven Anderson.
I don't know. Matt Powell looks like he's a kid who needs to get testosterone suppositories just to grow a beard. I don't think he can do it.
Yeah. We lovingly call him Cupcake because there could be something in the oven there.
No, he looks like a very interesting fellow, and I wish you the best with your.
Yeah, we might be debating again. We are kind of in contact about coming back together for another debate. So we'll see if that happens.
Good. That's been an ongoing thing with you guys. It's kind of, I think, as much as your interactions with him helped build your channel, his interactions with you helped build his persona in his verse, helped to grow him.
Kind of. I would say kind of.
You guys publicly.
Yeah, I would say me, Godless Engineer, and Skylar probably, helped him, and not just that. Like Non Sequitur Show had him on, so several. I would say we definitely helped him, but his progression through the NIFB could only have come internally. So like he's basically Steven Anderson's prophet in training now. So. In order to get there, that has to come internally. So I'm sure that his dealings with the Public Atheist had a lot to do with his internal machinations of going up through that organization. But there was probably a lot there. And like the guy literally moved to Arizona so he could be beside Steven Anderson. So like he is their next generation Steven Anderson in their opinion. So
at
that point,
$100 preacher job. That's his point. He's looking for a $100 preacher job. He wants to be a Joel Osteen.
He wants to take over that whole movement, and he wants to be the leader of it. And at that point, then now I think atheists, this community really has to go really hardcore at him, because we don't want him to become that next Steven Anderson. And we have won these battles. Steven Anderson is off of YouTube. A lot of the NIFB is off of YouTube now. We've delegated them to BitChute, but we just got to keep up the pressure. Matt Powell's still here, so let's get him over there too.
Absolutely. Well, people like that, though. I mean, it's hard to just, I don't know. Keeping them off YouTube is a good step, but they're still going to have a voice.
Well,
and that's what he's looking for.
They still
You're
have their
just gonna
voice.
practice. You're practiced because Aaron Ra won't debate him, because Matt Dillahunty won't debate him, because Sam Harris will not debate him. But once he grows in name, he'll start going after those bigger people to try to get,
I don't think so. He doesn't want to debate them. He ran from Aaron Ra. Aaron Ra was going to fly him to him, and he ran away from that. He says it he says it with his mouth, but his actions show a completely different thing. So there's another guy. He found me. He found me. I didn't find him.
Right. There's another guy named Filiberto Gonzalez, for example. Pardon me, Filiberto Gonzalez, if you're watching. Right. Who the hell is Filiberto Gonzalez? He's got some preacher somewhere. He's got a stream camera. Nobody knows nothing about. Why would Aaron Ra talk to Filiberto Gonzalez for the same reason? But he shouldn't, right? Why should he talk to Matt Powell? Why should he even offer to fly Matt Powell? Because Matt Powell worked and built himself a name in the community, partly off of you. To the point to where I
don't accept that. I don't accept that at all.
Okay.
I'm not going to take the blame for that. He was on YouTube doing his thing.
I don't mean it by that. Well, I don't mean like to blame you. I'm talking about as YouTubers, as fellow YouTuber content creators who are driving to build an audience. That people often wonder, do people like you and Matt get behind the scenes and go, hey, let's have this online feud for over a year and drive our audiences? And really wonder about that. No, obviously not. I'm not trying to vilify you at all. I'm just saying that you helped build him, not you helped build him. I'm not trying to be a douche. It's just working out that way. like your channel was grown through your interactions with him. People would go watch. Let me subscribe to him because he's fighting with Matt Powell, and I really enjoy watching Nokasuchi chew out Matt Powell. By that same notion, people followed him to watch him duke it out with you.
I think my channel was really built on my response video to Girl Defined. People have leveled that accusation at Mr. Atheist about Paul and Morgan. And I saw Mr. Atheist kind of try to take the guilt for that, and I disagreed with him doing so. Paul and Morgan, they were going to grow. Christians are out there. Like, these people are going to grow. These Christians are on YouTube just like we are. If we're not combating them, then we're giving them a free narrative. That's just it's the pure and simple. If there weren't people out there telling the rest of the people that Matt Powell is saying the things that he's saying, they wouldn't know about it, because it's not. Matt Powell might go around and broadcast it a little bit, but it's not the first thing out of his mouth. The first thing out of his mouth is Jesus loves you and let me tell you about the Lord, right? So they're not going to hear the rest of that unless you're telling them.
There you go. As it is. The thing about growing the channel and growing your followers and your use, or at least in his case, either because of his personality and his goals, it really wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered whether it was you or some other atheist YouTuber. It's sort of like Darth Dawkins. We give them a voice by arguing with them. If we ignore them and we blame them, we don't give them a voice.
And it's kind of what we do. It's the interesting thing about this technology now is that we can talk to these Christians. See, before we could never have these conversations. The Darth Dawkins was automatically accepted, and the atheist was automatically rejected and delegated to the shadows. Now we have this platform, and we can have these conversations, and we should not run away from them.
Yeah, I'll agree with Ray. That in a clean fight, Christians don't have a leg to stand on. They either try to gallop you. In fact, a buddy of mine who was on this channel actually on election night, Jonathan Pierce, he's gotten some beef with William Lane Craig, and once again, cheap plug for Andy's channel. Jonathan's coming on my show on Wednesday at 7 a.m. Eastern because he's a Brit, and we're gonna talk some smack about William Lane Craig and Jonathan's beef with him, because that's what, if we don't bring it to them, they will bring it to us one way or the other. And so it's always going to get in the first hit. And
I never live streamed for the first year and a half that I was doing YouTube. I just made edited videos, and I got Christian after Christian after Christian coming after me. I got Matt Powell coming after me, and then I started live streaming, and I was able to talk to the Christians, and it became a different thing. But these Christians are out there. They're watching, they're talking. And whether, there's a raging atheist or a Mr. Atheist or any of us that do these response videos about them, whether we're saying it or not, they're getting their message out. This is a Christian country, and it's still pretty much a Christian Western civilization. There's more of them, and it's easier for them to spread the word.
It isn't just on the principle of getting into a conflict with these people. It's the idea about dominating, and this is going to be a little bit of inside baseball, but if anyone's on YouTube or is on social media, you understand the need to dominate the algorithm so that when someone Googles this clown's name, they get to your video saying, hey, this guy's a clown.
Well, yeah, and I've done that. Like with Matt Powell, if you Google Matt Powell, you're going to see some of my videos are going to come up. And they're going to be right there looking at you. So you're going to have that option of listening to that, or, hey, let's see what this guy says, and then hearing the unadulterated truth about the guy. But no, I do see, like Gary Priestley, it is true that people will follow you to see how well you take on rancid Christians, without a doubt, especially once that name gets out there. Once people knew, hey, Rage ain't doing what the rest of them are doing. He's talking to these really crappy Christians. That does get out there, and people do come. They do come to that for that, without a doubt. I definitely have that element of my audience.
All I'm trying to say, and I'm not trying to vilify anybody, I'm just trying to say there's a mirror effect. On the Christian side, it's the same thing. They want to see him go trash atheists.
Well, sure.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not.
Well, with
saying
Smokey
you're
Saint,
bad.
especially, like Smokey Saint would be the perfect example of that, because that's his shtick, is just to go out and browbeat people, even Christians,
or Dark Dolphins.
Yeah, Dark Dawkins is a lot similar.
Even though it's nice to think about deconverting or helping deconvert Christians, it's really those people in the middle or who are questioning, and that's the benefit of dominating the search algorithm. Is that once again, you help bring them at least one or two clicks closer to being an atheist, or at least being rational and being a skeptic. So the Christian YouTuber gets more Christians. Well, they're probably not going to be your audience anyway, and they're probably not going to be interested in what you say. It's those people in the middle, the majority of people who are in the middle, who are who Google this kid's name and find your videos and realize, oh, this is what he's really about.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not denying any of that. I was just trying to point out that by the same notion that if Nokasuchi's channel benefited from dealing with Matt Powell benefited from dealing with us. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not saying it's bad.
Without a doubt, yeah, that's just the thing that's going to happen. And I would say his channel definitely benefited from our second conversation when he was able to take it to the editing room floor and really cut it to make it look like a thing that it wasn't. That helped him immensely. And then he also used several clips from my first conversation with him, spread it around the NIV youth community. So I had 12-year-olds putting little short 1.5 minute clips of what Matt Powell had edited from the first. So those kind of tactics are, you can't escape that. They're going to utilize that, but it's going to help them. And then it's going to create this narrative on that side about you that it might not be true. It probably isn't true, but that's what they think, So yeah, it is a double-edged sword without a doubt. I think I was missing that original point that you were trying to make. It's definitely a double-edged sword, and it is something that I struggle with. That's why I buried Smokey Saint, because I continuously struggle with what I do here.
I think you're leveling up in a sense, because from what I understand about Smokey,
leveling up.
You're not really a deep thinker.
Good one, Andy.
Well, yeah, and that was the point. Non-usable put it in my side chat, is that I'm very talented, and there's bigger fish to fry. So I really do myself a disservice when I allow my OCD to take over and I become so obsessive about one individual when there is a whole sea of them I could be looking at. And as LeBron James said, I could be taking my talents there,
Right. Absolutely. There absolutely is too. Do you plan on doing more debates? Are you gonna, how are you gonna be on the debate scene?
I haven't done a debate like on a big stage in a while. It's harder and harder to get. MDD is just booming right now. So what I'm planning on doing, I'm actually going to start having debates on my channel. I'm actually setting up my first one. I got to reach out to them on Facebook today. Jamie Black versus Leo Phileas, a philosophical debate. So I want to start doing that on my channel. And that's the other reason, I'm fairly confident that I can keep Smoky Saint buried is I want to focus my live streams on live conversations instead of conversations. So I might still go into a Smoky Saint stream and talk to him. I'm just not going to be covering it live on the channel anymore. I'm not going to give him that breathing space in those hours. I'm really going to focus on live debates and live conversations.
Well, I just want to speak to something that Jacqueline Rorsing is saying in my chat here on the channel. Plenty of religious people don't subscribe to parts of the faith that go against science, which you can argue make them hypocrites, but religious belief doesn't have to equate to false beliefs necessarily. When I talk to liberal Christians or people who are liberal and religious, talking with them, it's like wrestling with Jello in a way. It's like trying to pin them down on points on what they actually believe in. And when you have certain beliefs, then that means that anything that isn't stuff that you can prove,
I believe that all Christians have false beliefs because they literally believe in a zombie god, right? Like, to me, that's just a false belief.
That, yeah.
But like when it comes to liberal Christians, it is like what Andy is saying. It's like wrestling Jello, because to me, like that's the narrative that I see that needs to win out in Christianity. So I don't want to go at it. And then when you do like accidentally come across one of those and you're going at them, then it's like it really is hard to like pinpoint them down on where their beliefs come or why they think this, because the book that they put so much stock in says something completely opposite.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there have been notions about people about us having call-ins here on this show.
Oh, yeah. Well, that'd be fun.
You think that'd be a way to go, possibly getting Christians to call in and have their thoughts on some of these things?
It could be fun. It could lead to some vulgarity on my part.
We'll come up with little symbols. We'll have little like yellow cards, red cards, and just so that
Chris better have his censor button ready, like beep, beep, beep.
The most interesting conversations that I've had with other atheists, to tell you the truth. People within my own clan, so to speak. I find talking with them to be very interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well,
I enjoy some of those conversations the most because there's not conflict. And even when we're in disagreement, it's like a friendly disagreement. So, yeah, it is a nice refrain from talking to the other side.
So one of the things, like whenever we watch the Atheist Experience or some of these, it seems like all these other channels that are doing call-ins, their deal is like, we give special priority to Christians first. If you're an atheist, great, we'll let you through if we don't have anybody on the line. But would they give so you're talking about kind of doing the opposite of that, giving special priority to atheists, and they got Christian call in.
I don't
clarify for me.
I don't want to be negative, because I'm not that guy, despite everything that comes out of my mouth.
I'll be negative for you.
But we'll probably have only like a handful of phone callers at the very beginning, and really arguing about who's going to get through on the line will be pretty much a moot point until people start lining up to actually call in. So, and just because, okay, just as a category,
I agree, really.
Just as a category, saying that Christians are more important to talk to on the channel than atheists, I think that there is some kind of fallacy there, because atheists need some kind of pastoral, if I could use that term, pastoral care, right? Some support. And I think they're just as important as talking to Christians, to tell you the truth. There are people who are suffering on our side. There are people who are suffering and need some kind of support from people who've been atheists for a while. And they are just as important to talk to as Christians. Now, here's the thing. If you're looking for clicks, if you're looking for just freaking clips that you can, I was about to say whore yourself out, but just to get more clicks on your channel, then sure, we'll push up the Christians and ignore all the atheists who actually, might need some care and support. But that's, I guess I'm a little bit angrier about this than I realized, Chris.
To be honest, I have been all about singing to the choir, preaching to the choir ever since I started the channel. I didn't start this channel to sit here and argue with people. I don't like arguing with people. I am grateful for people like Nokasuchi who go out there and debate these Christians, because I don't want to argue with people all the time. And the notion has come across about making phone calls. And I got to be honest, I've dreaded a little bit about having to argue with people every morning. That's not really, that doesn't excite me at all. However, if we were to have a show where people could call in and talk about their experiences as atheists, or, just get it off their chest, or seek fellowship among their atheist brothers, I dig that. That's cool. I'm down.
Yeah. Well, to your point, Andy, I think at first, at the very least, you're going to have mostly atheist call-ins anyway. Yeah,
because that's who watches mostly.
Yeah.
Will that help the channel? Will that grow the show? I don't know. We've already been joking about how the show doesn't pay for itself. So how long? It's going to cost more money to add a phone line to the show. You know how it goes. I mean, so these conversations we had before the channel apply now when we talk about those sort of
Brian Stevens makes a decent point in my chat. He's like, why are there no shows for agnostics? And I'm like, well, I'm kind of an agnostic. I'm an agnostic atheist.
Me too. Technically, yeah. I'm an agnostic atheist. Here we are. I mean... You were going to say, Andy?
Well, that's an important conversation to have right now. I'm an agnostic atheist. The reason why I call myself an atheist is because I want to really, lower the stigma of people and help people who are in the closet who are atheists. So being a person in a blue state, looking the way that I am, and I do kind of like the way that I look occasionally. Then when I say I'm an atheist, then that helps other people who are atheists. Now, a couple of seconds, if the other person is interested in talking with me, I'll say, yeah, I'm an agnostic atheist, and that's what that means, blah, blah, blah. But just having that conversation with people calling in, other atheists or agnostics, these are important conversations to have.
Yeah, we could work on the show, and I normally we kind of frown on talking about show topics like this during the show, but my people count. I care about what the viewers think, especially when we talk about doing something like this. We could do a show where we could have it to where every day we open the phone lines up half hour into the show, and then take a call or two before the show. We can do it once a week, Friday phone calls.
I just want to speak to Jekyll and Worsing in my chat. It's like I definitely see religious people struggle with the idea of a homosexual couple in love as doing something wrong. Yeah. Well, speaking as someone who is a homophobe when they were, much younger and in the faith, and someone who realized that there was that religion put that part of myself against my own sexuality. These are important conversations to have. Because there are still artifacts. Atheists still have artifacts from their religious lives that they don't realize that are still rattling in their heads.
Latent Christianity.
Yeah. For those of us who've been atheists for a while, it takes time to actually pull that stuff out of us.
Mm-hmm. And then it'll still pop up on you. Like 20 years an atheist, and every once in a while I'm like, holy crap, that came from my childhood.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah, indeed.
And I think it goes a bit beyond that. Like, I didn't just think that they were bad people. I didn't just think it was worse than a heterosexual relationship. When I was a Christian homophobe, I thought it wasn't natural.
Oh yeah, dude.
And when you start thinking along those lines, then you stop seeing them as being human beings. You start seeing them as being unnatural.
It is dehumanization. It is dehumanization. That's what it is. And when you dehumanize someone, that means you can do what you want to them. You treat them as a thing. That's what it is. And that's what Christianity does at its base, right? It treats you as a thing of God. You are not a person, you are property. And people will say that. People will say that. Like, not only are you dehumanizing yourself and lowering your own worth, you are devaluing everyone else around you, because now you are looking at them as things. And that is pernicious, and that is toxic, to say the least.
Yeah, well, and I think that's the worst thing that Christianity did. They took that blood god, and they took that blood sacrifice, and they turned it into a slave master slave relationship, to where you are literally the slave of God now, and
you're happy about it.
Yeah,
and you're happy about it.
You love it. Yep.
What kind of insanity is that? It's insane.
Yeah.
And just talking to people about how insane it is therapeutic and helpful.
Oh yeah, yeah. It is very therapeutic. I've had some of my best therapy doing this. Having the worst of the worst come in and just being able to yell at them like they're my aunt. Oh yeah, that got a lot of that old stuff out, man.
So you guys think of more of an atheist support line than a just random call in?
I have to
First, it
tell
may
you,
be
you know,
random call in.
in terms of performing, because when I come on this show, I think of myself as performing, right? You give a topic, someone says something in the chat, and I feel that it's a lot like improv, and the fact that you say something and then I yes and it, and I just go with it. So however it happens, it happens. That's how I feel about it. It's like if we start talking to Christians, that's fine. If we start talking to atheists, that's fine too. But I would definitely say the idea about prioritizing Christians above atheists just because that they're Christians, I think that is freaking capitalism creeping in and telling you that it's more important to get clicks than it is to, and I'll say this again, more explicitly, to minister, to talk to atheists who need help. That's what I think that is.
I think so too. I don't, to be honest, I'm not trying to vilify anybody. What?
I'm just being critical. That's all I am.
Oh, well, I don't know anything about why. I've never watched an entire show. I've seen a couple of little things. I could even be wrong about prioritizing Christians. I thought that they said, yeah, if you're a Christian, they'll move them to the front of the line. I thought, but I don't know. I'm not trying to vilify anybody. It was just, as somebody who's never had a call-in line, I didn't want to be the normal. Like, this show isn't like all those other atheist shows on there. Right. Well, I don't want to do the same thing all those atheists do. And, I think Andy's got a great idea about, the seed of the idea about trying to focus it and help, especially if I'm going to be paying coin out my pocket. At least I want to be doing something useful with it rather than just sitting there arguing with Christians and trying to tick numbers.
Well, yeah, I think playing it by ear, if you got a good Christian caller with a good question that you think would be great for the show, yeah, push them up there. Maybe. But if you got a couple atheist callers and they're going to bring up some good topics, or there's an atheist going through some really like serious life stuff at the moment, then you prioritize those people, so I think play it by ear and use your gut a little bit and you'll be fine.
I wouldn't think to block or ban the Christians. I'm just not to aim for them. That's not my goal.
And I never really understood that, like if your goal is to normalize atheism, why would you prioritize Christians? I've never really understood that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think I've said I've stated my fatwa on that particular topic about why people want to do that.
Yeah, I have made that mistake a couple times, and I noticed it like when I did it. Like one time I had Mama Atheist on, and we were talking science, and Matt Powell came into my side chat, and I'm like, Matt Powell, come on in, and I prioritized Matt Powell over Mama Atheist. I realized it immediately, and I should have apologized for that because I shouldn't do that. I should prioritize the scientist over the fool any day of the week.
Wait a minute. Are we living in America? Are you telling me that we scientist over fool?
Yeah.
That's crazy talk. Where do you get these ideas? I don't know how your mind flips about. I agree. I think the same thing. I think I'm going to put mental effort towards that and see how that goes. I've got a lot on my plate right now. I'm trying to start a second channel and do those other things. But then again, I got to be honest with these. As we've been talking with this Daily Atheist Morning Show, I've been thinking about what to do. The annual of this show comes up in a year, and I got to be honest, I'm going to be throwing a serious question as to whether or not thusly to continue doing the show. There's other ways. Scripted videos just seem to be better. But this is, those kind of things. So if adding a call-in line kicks the show off and it makes it, I'd actually like to find somebody to replace me, and I just run the show.
I'd like to have somebody replace you too, Chris. But Rage and I have been talking about that for months at this point. It's like
I know. Kapla, Scott Duke. Kapla.
I love talking and arguing, but I've found that I actually enjoy producing just as much. I would love to produce shows more. I really would.
With it's just the different kinds of formats. I'd hate to lose the format that we've got. It's a good format. It's fun, but it's certainly not productive.
Oh, yeah. It's fun. It's fun, but you should always be, always be on that grind. How can I make it better? How can I make it more fun? So nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you ought to see the show. Can you see the show this morning? What do you think of the winner? Oh, you like the winner? I think.
Oh yeah, I like it. Yeah,
I'm the guy.
I might have to steal that
Make
idea.
it better. I just figured,
I did use a moving graphic this weekend for the burial, and I like the effects of that, and I like how you want subtle movements. You don't want too much movement, and you did it right, and I like it. Yeah,
I tried. Yeah, actually, it was flipped around. The image was flipped around, and you couldn't see the water most of the time. So all you saw was these little rocks. So I switched it around this morning so you could at least see the water. Yeah, subtle. But I enjoy it. It's fun. It's fun to produce the show. I'm just thinking maybe I could get somebody else. Just imagine if I could get Eric Murphy to pop in for a week and replace me as the host. Or we could get other people, and I could just produce. That would just be so nice.
It'd be a good idea.
To do all them.
And if you ever need me to bow out so you can have a special host because they despise me, I'll completely understand.
Oh no! If anything, I'd like to see Rage take the take control. That would be hilarious with a live show with Chris just working the toggle switch,
just running the buttons,
the 7-second delay. That would be hilarious. But we would have to have Chris ripping or going like this somewhere in the corner so we could see him as he gets his heart attack or
Chris
stroke.
He'd be bald by the end of that. Like no hair left
already.
I'm jealous, Chris. I'm actually jealous of your hair, so I'm just saying.
Well, the best finesse job money can buy.
So I'm surrounded by people with that have good genes.
Oh no, brother! No! You can't say that as a person who's like 6'5".
Right.
Yes, and I do remember how tall you are because I'm petty like that.
You're petty that way. John Funk has joined us this morning from the Atheist Incorporated and Reading Funk. We're about to close her out, but I thought, hey, I'll pull him on in. Good morning, John.
Hey, I was just catching the last bit there about the future of this show. So maybe you could give me a 30-second rundown on what you guys were going over there.
Call-in show.
Oh,
call-in show. Holy shit, that would be a leap in the right direction.
Possibly a call-in show, yeah. A call-in show, possibly retiring the Daily Atheist Morning Show. One of the other.
Oh, holy moly. I don't know if I like that idea.
I'm not really sure. We'll see. Year's coming up though, so I'm gonna run it out for the next month. I've learned a couple of new tricks that I'm gonna be trying, and if I can't grow it and make it worth it, I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna go.
Well, it all matters on what kind of metrics you're looking for, right? If your goal is to, if you have a self-defeating goal, then congratulations, you're probably gonna find out that you're gonna be defeated.
Yeah.
So if you have certain goals about what you want to do, and if you meet those goals, realistic goals, that's one thing. If you're trying to get these unrealistic goals, then yeah.
Well, at a more fortuitous occasion, I would gladly demonstrate for you the goals I had and how realistic they were, and how we haven't attained those. I would gladly show you those. It's not. I'm not being hypercritical of myself. It's a lack of progression. And then, of course, other directions. We can do other things like Nokasuchi, Mr. Atheist, for example, makes scripted videos where they watch Girl Defined or something, find out the horror that these people are telling their followers, and then they go make a scripted video about it. They put it up, and that scripted video there lives there, and it gets views, and it's good. Daily Atheist Morning Show, we got a few viewers, and then after, who wants to watch a show from 6 months ago? Nobody wants to watch a show.
That does seem to be the big difference from the edited content as to the live content. The live content, you'll pick up within the first 24 hours some playback views on it, but then it just kind of dies out and they're ready for the next show. With the edited content, it's sitting there and it's bringing in views the whole time.
Thing. If you actually have, when we had Jason on from Dragons and Genesis, right? I took a clip of our show when he was talking about the difference between the relationship between El and Yahweh.
Mhm.
And I made a clip out of that because that was one particular question which he answered really well, that I don't have to quote unquote script it because it's already been done.
Mhm.
And I just uploaded like that. I put it on the blog, and then I put it on my channel and everything. I put it on the channel, then I put it on the blog. So in that way, you can definitely use the morning show in terms of cutting it up when you ask very discreet questions of really good guests. And you can do the same too for call-in shows too. You see it with the Atheist Experience all the time, is that they just do clips from the morning show. I mean, from their call-in shows. So there's still a lot of opportunities.
Well, and as we were saying before the stream started, I think they're two very different audiences. You have your attention deficit audience, and then you have your audience that likes the really long stuff. So
Absolutely.
Trying to tap into both of those audiences, nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's only going to help grow your channel.
That's true.
Well, whenever you watch like the Daily, not the Daily Atheist, the Weekend Atheist Experience, and they've got 5,000 live viewers. When you watch Talk Heathen and they've got 2,500 live viewers. When you watch Daily Mr. Atheist and he's got 1,100, 1,200 live viewers.
Yeah.
Right now, that's right now 12. That's right now 5,000 people are watching the Atheist Experience. Those kind of numbers are the kind of numbers we look forward to. Whenever your numbers go from, I started this show a year ago. 2 months later, I was getting 30 viewers an hour. Now I get 30 viewers an hour.
It takes patience, persistence.
Yeah.
How long has Atheist Experience been doing it? Even Jimmy Snow. Jimmy Snow will tell you.
Jimmy Snow's only got a little bit longer than us. He got big because of one or two things like you.
But he struggled at first, and he thought about quitting altogether, and then he's that anomaly that just blew up, and nobody can really figure out why. I don't even think he really knows why.
Right.
But like with the Atheist Experience, that was a progression that took years. So you just got to be persistent, but continue to just creatively brainstorm ways to be better. I think that's the key.
I think having one good guest on at least a week, like Jason from Dragons and Genesis, and then making clips out of that. Or doing call-in shows and making clips out of that. I think these are good ideas, and these are and you don't have to do that much more work either with them.
Oh no, you're right. The shorts that you're talking about are the things that I've already got planned to start working on to try to grow the channel over the next month or so as we work towards the anniversary of the Daily Atheist Morning Show. Again, I mean, I may even if I didn't like continuing to do it, if it's stagnating and stay where I do actually enjoy getting up every morning and doing all this stuff. It's fun. I'm addicted. Yeah. I would almost like it if I could, like I said, let somebody else come in and do the co-hosting, and I just run everything in the background. I occasionally pop in, hi, I'm Chris. You guys remember me, but those kind of things. We'll see what happens over the next year. Yeah, we'll see over the next.
Doing it all at the same time is aggravating. It gets aggravating.
Yeah, and I could show you guys some metrics that would just make you cry, dude. My metrics it was just for the work put into it. John?
Yeah. I think that's something that can be good to do, because if you're persisting in the same manner for a lengthy period of time, you might somehow have dug yourself into a rut. So what I think might be good to do is make a list of 6 or maybe even a dozen different things that you can try and just do them. Just do them. You can always throw one out and delete it if you don't like the way it goes. But I find that some people have had success changing it up again, changing it up, and then something finally catches and they get a viral video. So, I look forward to see how you change things up. I just have a feeling that with your dedication, with your persistence, with your belief in yourself, that you will make it happen.
Oh yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm excited. We got new things. I got a new commercial. The show is over. I'm gonna run a new commercial for those of you who.
I really think you're on the right track. As John is saying, the people that fail here are people that don't have that persistence and fortitude. I think you definitely have that. You've shown it. So just keep it up and think outside of the box. You'll be good.
Awesome sauce. I appreciate all your kudos and your yes. Thank you very much. All right, guys, I want to go ahead and close it out and go cry in a corner. Andy, what do you got going on today? You got anything else?
I have my buddy Jonathan Pierce coming on at 7 a.m. on Wednesday. We're going to be talking about William Lane Craig. It turns out that there's beef between those two, and we're going to talk about the philosophical beef.
Awesome. Good. Okay, that's good to know. Nokasuchi, brother man, what do you got going on?
Oh yeah, I'm filming videos, edited content, scripting videos again. Today at 1:00, we're having the Apostate Alliance, a live one this week. So tune in for that. Should be a great guest. I might do something tonight. I haven't decided yet, so we'll see if that happens.
Awesome. Looks like Andy may have gotten a new subscriber there.
Oh, hey,
I think it was Andy.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So, John, you got anything going on? You're doing your reading funk. How's your thing going on?
Yeah. So yesterday I reviewed The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien.
Oh,
and I think
really?
it was the best review that I've ever done. I'm really getting good getting those clips spliced together just perfectly so that my narrative is one continuous flow. So if you're interested in literature at all, check out Reading Funk on YouTube. That's all I got.
Yes. He's got some good stuff. All right, guys, I'm going to run this commercial, this new atheist commercial that I've got. I want to thank everybody in the chat. You guys are all wonderful. Thank you all for joining us today in the Damnation. Have a great day. We will see you tomorrow. Take care. Hello, all. Chris Mallard here, atheist extraordinaire, host of the Daily Atheist Morning Show, and currently burning in hell. Oh, don't worry about me. I'm not dead. I'm just down here for the annual Christmas party. I mean, annual Solstice Awards party. The Dark One, or Lucy as he is affectionately known, is personally handing out the awards. Aaron Ra is getting the award for the most souls brought down by evolution for his African fossil hunt, and Matt Dillahunty has won the Golden Phallus Award for being a dick to the most Christians. Oh wait. It's the Golden Fallacy Award for the confusing the most Christians. Easy mistake to make. To top it off, Seth Andrews has lent his voice to the Gregorian chants this year. It's delightfully hellish. Gotta run. I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving, if you're into that sort of thing, and I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. A happy holidays, happy solstice, and a happy new year. Stay safe, heathens. Party hard, fornicate, that sort of thing, but do it safely.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching the show. A special shout out to my gold level Patreon supporters, Cindy Plaza and Ian Davenport. Thank you and have a great day.